Welcome to the deep dive. We're plunging into some really fascinating concepts today, hoping to emerge with genuinely new perspectives.
Absolutely.
And today we're tackling one of the most intriguing, maybe even transformative ideas out there: awakening.
hmm
What if, and this is the big question, what if you could achieve a profound shift in consciousness, not over years or even months, but potentially in just days?
That's the kicker, isn't it? That speed.
Exactly. That's the bold claim we're exploring today. We're drawing our insights from the Mastering Thought YouTube channel.
Right. A great source for this.
And our guides, so to speak, through this material are Dr. Mark Waller. He's a marriage and family therapist, got 26 years of experience.
Impressive background.
And Christina Black, who is a cranial sacral therapist.
So bringing different perspectives together.
Right. So our mission for this deep dive, let's unpack their unique approach. They call it Moment Mindfulness.
Moment mindfulness. Yeah.
And we want to reveal the surprising science behind why they claim it works so much faster than other methods. Get ready for some, hopefully, aha moments that could really change how you perceive your own mind.
Definitely some potential paradigm shifts here.
Okay, so let's unpack this whole awakening thing first. In the context of this deep dive, what exactly are we talking about?
Well, it's described as this really profound shift in consciousness. Essentially, disidentification from your thoughts.
Disidentification, meaning you stop thinking thoughts, are you?
Exactly. You see them more objectively. And this leads to what some call enlightenment, or maybe more accessibly, just a lasting sense of peace.
So not just like a fleeting good mood.
No. It's meant to be a fundamental, lasting change in your relationship with your mind.
Okay. And the fascinating part, the core claim here, is that this kind of awakening, it's possible in days.
That's what they strongly suggest. Yeah, not weeks, months, or years. If you consistently engage with their moment mindfulness method, they say they've seen it happen again and again.
That's
Yeah.
that's fast. So what's the catch? What's the hurdle?
Well, one of the biggest hurdles they highlight is, maybe surprisingly, how simple it is. People tend to make it incredibly complicated.
Why? Why do we do that?
It's often an ego thing, as they put it. You know, the ego loves a project and
Yeah.
wants something substantial to conquer, something it feels like it really earned.
Okay. So the simplicity doesn't feel hefty enough.
Exactly. It doesn't
Yeah.
feel like enough of a project. It also feels too easy to be truly profound, right?
That tendency to overcomplicate. Yeah, that's so relatable. I think many of us have tried to, power through a personal challenge, thinking more complexity means more effective.
Right.
But what's the trickiest part then about letting go of that need for complexity? Like, what's the common stumble block once someone gets the simplicity idea?
Often it's just trusting the simplicity, really trusting it. Christina herself actually shared this story from her own journey with the method.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she initially struggled for weeks.
Oh.
Why? Because she was trying to complicate it, trying to, quote, examine the thought more, adding all these layers of intellectual analysis.
Back to the project mindset.
Totally.
Yeah.
But as soon as she simplified it, really grasped that she wasn't the voice in her head.
Yeah.
Boom, her own awakening happened very quickly.
Wow. How quickly?
Like, she was literally mid-sentence talking with her husband, and apparently everything just shifted. This profound state of peace just washed over her. The key was letting go of the doing and just observing.
Just observing. Okay.
And, another key aspect here, when we look at other paths, the more traditional routes to awakening,
Yeah.
they often require just immense effort. And even then, the success rates seem remarkably low.
Really? Like what kind of paths?
Well, take traditional mindfulness or meditation.
Yeah.
Standard stuff, right? Research suggests that these practices typically see only about maybe 5 to 10% of practitioners reporting experiences that resemble awakening, that non-dual awareness state,
5 to 10%. After how long?
after years of daily practice.
Years. Wow.
Yeah, and even within meditation communities like the Insight Meditation Society, they report significant awakenings in less than 5% of their long-term meditators. And these are people practicing 1 to 2 hours daily for over 5 years.
Holy smokes. That's talk about dedication. It sounds like needing to be an Olympic level athlete just to get started.
It kind of does, yeah. It puts it in perspective, doesn't it? You can see why people might feel discouraged by those odds given the sheer commitment.
Absolutely.
Exactly. And then you have other methods like leveraging psychedelics.
Right. Like psilocybin.
Exactly. Magic mushrooms. Johns Hopkins University has done a lot of well-known research on this.
What did they find regarding awakening?
Well, it's interesting. In one study, while 60% of participants had a complete mystical trip, and a third rated it as one of the most spiritually significant experiences of their lives.
Which sounds pretty profound.
It is, but only about 10 to 20% actually described it as an awakening, in the sense we're talking about, that lasting shift.
Okay, so even with psilocybin, the odds are still, what, less than 40%?
Yeah, something like that based on those numbers. Still low, relatively speaking, for that specific outcome.
Mm.
Now, that's not to dismiss the power. It's worth noting psychedelics have shown really dramatic positive impacts on mental health issues.
Like what?
Well, for example, research showed psilocybin combined with cognitive behavioral therapy led to an 80% tobacco abstinence rate. That's huge.
80%. Wow.
And there was earlier research indicating even a single dose of MDMA or ecstasy could significantly help with PTSD.
Okay.
But the crucial distinction here, and this is really important, is that we're talking about a guided experience.
Yeah.
With a therapist in a specific setting, often with curated music. It's not the same as recreational or unsupervised use.
Yes, the context and intention are key.
Absolutely paramount.
That makes sense. It reminds me of those, historical accounts from early Silicon Valley.
Yep.
Programmers using LSD, but not just recreationally.
Right, in structured sessions.
Yeah, focusing on specific problems to spark creative solutions. That structure and intention seem to completely change the outcome.
Precisely. And, while other supportive therapies can be really helpful for well-being.
Like the cranial sacral therapy Christina does.
Yeah, exactly. Cranial sacral's this gentle, hands-on method supporting the body's own healing rhythm. Or things like somatic emotional exercises, which help release stored trauma from the body.
They prepare the ground, maybe.
They can, yeah. They're immensely supportive. But they also sort of implicitly point to a common thread, something we see across all the approaches that successfully lead to these profound shifts.
Okay, what's the common thread?
If we connect this to the bigger picture, what do all these successful approaches have in common? Long-term meditation, psilocybin therapy, moment mindfulness.
Yeah.
They all work to quiet what Dr. Waller and Christina call the ego mind, or more specifically, scientifically speaking, they impact a network in the brain called the default mode network, the DMN.
The DMM. No, okay. And just to be clear, when they say ego here, we're not talking about Freud's ego, are we?
No, not in that complex psychoanalytic sense.
Right.
It's more the common understanding, that constant self-talk.
Yeah, voice in your head.
That's the one, the pride, the self-preservation, the rumination. Basically, that narrator that's always going, commenting on your life, your thoughts about yourself, the world.
Okay, got it. So the DMN, what is that neurologically?
It's a network of brain regions that's particularly active when you're, well, sort of mentally at rest, but not focused on the outside world.
Like daydreaming.
Exactly. Daydreaming, self-reflection, planning the future, ruminating on the past. You might call autopilot thinking.
And which parts of the brain are involved?
It includes regions deep inside, like parts involved in memory retrieval, thinking about yourself, projecting into the future, areas basically responsible for generating that internal monologue and your sense of self over time.
Right. And what happens when it's too active?
Well, studies show that when this default mode network is overactive, it's strongly associated with conditions like anxiety, depression, and sort of self-obsession or excessive rumination.
Okay, that makes sense. And when it's less active?
Conversely, when its activity is significantly reduced, that correlates directly with those deep meditative states we talked about, psychedelic experiences, and importantly, the disidentification from thought that defines awakening.
So, putting it simply, the DMN is kind of the engine of our internal chatter and maybe a big source of mental stress.
You could definitely frame it that way, yeah.
And the key to awakening, then, is to somehow diminish its activity, to quiet that constant internal voice.
That seems to be the mechanism, yes. Quieting the DMN.
Okay, this next part. This feels like where it gets really interesting because moment mindfulness, or thought watching, as they also call it, is presented as this really simple, direct way to diminish the DMN activity. It sounds almost too simple, given how complex the brain is.
It does seem counterintuitive, doesn't it? But the core exercise itself is remarkably straightforward.
How does it work?
You simply wait. You wait for the next thought to appear in your mind.
Just wait.
Just wait. And the moment you become aware that you're thinking, that instant you notice, oh, I'm thinking. You'll notice something else.
What?
The voice in your head stops.
Instant.
Instantly.
It just stops.
Stops. Dead quiet for a moment.
Why? Why does it stop?
That silence you experience. That is the default mode network, the engine of self-talk, dramatically quieting down. It's essentially taking a break, resting.
Okay.
And the mechanism is simple. You can't really pay attention, be aware of something, and simultaneously talk in your head at the same time.
Uh-huh.
Your attentional resources shift.
So turning your awareness to the thought makes the internal chatter stop.
Exactly. And that immediate quietude, that's what they argue, makes this method so uniquely swift compared to, say, years of meditation trying to achieve a similar state less directly.
Okay. And the outcome, if you keep doing this repeatedly.
The outcome is profound. You gradually train yourself, almost retrain your brain, to be the observer of your thoughts,
Yeah.
rather than the thinker who's constantly caught up and identified with them.
And that leads to the disidentification.
Directly.
Yeah.
Thoughts start to feel like they have this otherness to them. They're happening in your awareness, but they aren't you. They lose their power to define your core identity.
Wow.
But, and this is crucial, they really emphasize the importance of context and belief.
What do you mean?
You have to understand, like, really internalize the foundational idea.
Yeah.
You are not the voice in your head. This understanding, this information, and your intention when you do the exercise, it's essential.
Like setting the stage.
Exactly. Similar to how proper expectation setting and understanding are crucial for therapeutic psychedelic sessions to work well. It's not just a mechanical exercise, it's the understanding behind it that empowers it.
Okay, let's talk about results. Dr. Waller, the therapist, he uses this with clients.
He does. With his 26 years of experience, he shares that the very first thing he does now with new clients is teach them moment mindfulness.
The very first thing.
Yep. And he reports seeing consistent, spontaneous awakenings in his clients, often within just days of them starting the practice correctly.
Days? That's incredible. What kind of success rate does he claim?
He states the odds are, and this is his word, 100%, for those who truly follow the simple instructions without getting lost in overanalyzing or complicating it.
100%. That sounds almost too good to be true, especially compared to those single-digit percentages for other methods we discussed.
It does sound extraordinary, I know.
For someone listening who's maybe tried everything, who's skeptical, what would you say is the biggest differentiator that makes that kind of claim even possible?
I think it really comes back to that radical simplicity and the directness of targeting the DMN activity through that moment of awareness. It bypasses the years of preparatory practice.
And how does this affect the problems people originally come to therapy for?
That's the fascinating part. He says this newfound self-awareness completely transforms how they experience those problems. As he puts it, your same old problems don't hit the same way when you're not taking everything so personally.
Because you're not identified with the thoughts about the problem.
Exactly. You're no longer feeling like the victim of your own mind, tangled up in the stories it tells. There's space. There's perspective.
Okay. So, for someone listening right now, what stands out to you? If this whole approach resonates, if that idea of a rapid shift sounds like something you'd want to explore, how can you dive deeper?
Good question. There are resources available.
Dr. Mark Waller and Christina Black, they've actually created an online community, haven't they, called Thought Watching.
That's right. Thought watching, also known sometimes as Thought Masters.
And what's the purpose of that community?
It's designed specifically as a place for coaching and support, so you can join others who are actively working on these exact concepts and techniques.
So you're not doing it alone.
Precisely. It provides that peer-to-peer connection and also expert guidance, much like Christina had support from Mark when she was learning. The idea is really to allow people to talk, share experiences, learn from each other, and grow together. It potentially makes the journey much faster and more accessible.
Having that shared space seems really important.
It is. And look, we're really dedicated to helping you have this experience if it calls to you. If you're interested, you can find an email address provided right there in the show notes for direct assistance.
Oh, that's great. Direct help.
Yeah, we want to make sure you have every resource available to explore this properly.
And I'd also highly encourage checking out their Mastering Thought YouTube channel.
Definitely.
There are more in-depth videos there that really delve into the process, the explanations. They've got a real wealth of information that expands on everything we've touched on today.
Absolutely. It's a great place to get more detail. And, you know, we've even been discussing the potential for doing a more formal group study.
A study to track the success rate.
Exactly. To rigorously demonstrate the success rate of moment mindfulness. So if you're listening and you might be interested in participating in something like that, please reach out to us via that email.
You're hoping to show those odds are really as high as claimed.
We're eager to demonstrate that the odds of awakening with this specific method, when done correctly, are, in their words, nearly 100%.
Okay, quite a claim to test.
Indeed.
So let's just recap our deep dive today. The core message seems to be this. Awakening isn't necessarily some elusive years-long quest reserved for spiritual elites.
Right. It doesn't have to be.
It's presented here as a remarkably accessible experience, potentially achievable in days, through this simple yet seemingly profound practice of moment mindfulness.
By understanding and directly quieting that default mode network.
Yeah. So here's a final thought maybe for you to consider, something to mull over. Imagine the freedom. Imagine the entirely new perspectives that could open up if your thoughts no longer defined you. If that incessant internal chatter finally quietened down, what would that actually mean for your daily life, for your decisions, for your baseline sense of peace?
It's a powerful question to sit with.
It really is. So if this sparked your curiosity, and we certainly hope it did, remember you can connect with Dr. Mark Waller and Christina Black's work, find the Mastering Thought YouTube channel, or look for the Thought Watching online community, and definitely check out that direct email address in our show notes to explore this concept further.
Please do.
Thanks so much for joining us on this deep dive.